Hey everyone, happy 2020. I am going to be going through my 2020 bullet journal setup today and then going through my January setup as well. Bullet journaling has been a huge life changer for me, going for my goals, going for scheduling. It's just been a massive rehaul of how I used to kind of fly by night with my planning in my life. So this year I've got a Lectern 1917. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. It's the one I've used for the past 4 or 5 years for bullet journaling, and I really like them. I think next year I'm going to try something new, but for this year we're sticking with the tried and true. So yeah, and I do apologize for the congestionness of my voice. I'm getting over a cold a little bit here, but I didn't want to not film today and then start marking up all my pages, and it wouldn't be as pretty as it is now. So here on the first page, we've got my key for the setup, and then I've got a little note here that tells me the size of the grid pages. So when I'm doing layouts, I don't have to constantly count all the little squares. I've got this blanked out right here just because it's my address and phone number and email, and I don't want that shooting out to the world. But in case somebody finds this, they can return it back to me if they're a good person. So some of the key things I use is a task, an event, appointments, things that are in progress. This is new for this year. I used to just either forward it or complete it, but it adds a little sense of accomplishment, even if I've just started on something and not finished it, rather than just moving it forward. If I've deleted it, if it's just not going to happen, if it's a priority item, this deadline is for future planning, so I can mark in the future, hey, this is when XYZ is due. Random ideas I come up with and random notes I come up with. And this is all kind of my bastardization of the bullet journal system. So I'm not a true bullet journaler. I've kind of taken it and run with it myself. But if you are interested in bullet journaling, I'll put some links in the description about basic bullet journaling, where to start from, so that a lot more of this makes sense. So if we turn the page, here's my cover photo. As a goal this year, I'm trying to make things more simple in my bullet journal. I used to get super artsy with all of it and really draw and do these big detailed things, and it's just became overwhelming at a certain point. So I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't following up with it. So this year I'm trying to make things a lot more simple, and you even see that on my cover page. It was just 2020 with a little line and some squiggles on it. So if we turn the page, how I've organized myself for the year in terms of goals is I've divided my life into 6 separate goal areas. The art, budget, physical health, and mental health are the ones I'm going to talk about in this video. The other 2 we're just going to leave be. But you'll see as we delve down into my monthly plans, into my weekly plans, you'll see these colors, you'll see these goals all trickle down into my planning. So I'll go more into depth about each goal because I've got dedicated pages right here at the beginning for each of them. But just as an overview, as I go throughout the year, I'm going to go back and check this off and keep returning to this main page. But I wanted to have one page of all the goals together. So if we turn the page here, this is my planning for the year. I've got 4 pages for this. So this is every month, January, February, March, April, so on and so forth. I've marked down birthdays, I've marked down holidays, I've got some personal stuff that's already cropping up, but everything's color coded, as you can see down the side here and up the side here. They all feed back into those 6 goals, or if they're not related to those 6 goals, like birthdays or holidays, they've all got their own dedicated color. I'm a very visual person. So what I do with this is future planning. So when I go to set up my next month, I can always return back to these pages and see, hey, this is what I have going on, and make a note of it. So this is my second page. This is July through December. And then this is future planning for 2021. So if I've got events or things I need to pencil in for the following year, or I'm trying to plan out timelines for whatever, I can do that here on these 2 pages. It's not as detailed as the 2020 because, again, this is a year out, but it's good to have because I find that with bullet journaling, one of the shortcomings often is the future planning. So I'd like to give myself plenty of options to plan for the future. So on these next few pages, I've got my budget. Since it is one of my main goals for the year, I am putting it all at the front rather than in front of each monthly setup. I'm also doing a Google Drive digital spread of all of this. I'm kind of changing how I do that, but I'll leave that mostly blank for now, and I'll fill this in as I go along. Next, we've got my art display, or my art pages for my art goals. So I'll break this down a little bit and go through what kind of my plans are for the year art-wise. My number 1 goal is to draw and create daily. So I want to have a large painting done every month. because I feel like I've gone away from a lot of acrylic painting and I used to be really into that. So I want to do a large painting or like a big pencil drawing, something very detailed and technical, because I haven't been doing that lately. So my goal is one per month. My other goal is 2 to 4 marker slash ink drawing monthly. So my morning schedule is I usually spend about an hour working on art, and that's kind of where I want these to fall in. So I think I can get about 2 to 4 of these smaller, medium-sized pieces done per month, and this is where I'm going to write down those pieces that I complete per month. Sketch daily in my sketchbook, so I've got every month labeled out, and then I've got dash 31 days. So I'm going to track every day if I've drawn or not in my sketchbook, and then at the end of that month, I'm going to put how many times did I draw, 30 out of 31, 19 out of 31, whatever it is, so I can keep track. And then I'm going to mark down the sketchbooks I complete. Over here, I want to do my art YouTube channel a lot more. So I'm trying to keep it simple and do one per month, so I don't overwhelm myself. But I've got a list of ideas and challenges and things that I could possibly start doing, because it might run out creatively, or I might think of something in March that I'm not going to do till August, but I want to keep track of those. Next, I've got 2 art challenges this year. Mermaid is where you draw a different themed mermaid every day for the month of May, and then Inktober is just a list of prompts you fill out and follow for the month of October in any style, but traditionally ink drawing. Goal number 4 is I want to show in an art show. I did my first one last year, and this is going to require a lot of other little goals, like joining the Long Beach Art Registry, or making the social connections, or creating art that's quality enough to be in an art show. So this is kind of a big goal that I've left without any details, but that's a big goal of mine for this next year. And then lastly, this isn't really a goal, but it's just more for my own information. I'm going to track social media and store sales. So my Insta followers, YouTube views versus followers, my Society 6 sales, and then my Facebook followers. So every month I'm going to write down where we're at as we go along and see if I see any patterns. So next up is my physical health. My number 1 goal is to train jujitsu 4 to 6 times per week. I have some stuff going on this year that I know is going to take away from this. So I'm really going to try to get there at least 4 times a week. And again, just like my sketching, I'm going to, at the end of every month, go back and mark how many times I went so I can see what's going on here. My second goal is to compete in 4 events. I spelled compete wrong. That's hilarious. Complete 4 events. I guess I'll complete them. Hopefully I complete them. But my second goal is to compete in 4 events. I've got one coming up in January. So after that event, I'm going to write it down there and keep on going. My third goal is yoga 1 time per week. There's a place that does free yoga classes right next to my apartment. So I really have exactly 0 excuses not to be out there. But I find that it helps with my jiu-jitsu training and just my overall health, my aches and pains, all of this stuff. So we're going to try to get there at least 1 time per week. Goal number 4, we're not talking about. Goal number 5, I do this program called Black Iron Nutrition. So you get a personal trainer and you check in with them once a week digitally. And I have kind of fallen off the wagon these past couple months, but I want to get back on this because I felt a huge difference in my body and my overall mental health when I was really strictly following this. So my goal is to complete every check-in weekly. So again, I'm going to mark this and then every month mark how many times I did it. Follow the bin target, so they give you like a certain amount of protein or carbs to hit or calories to hit. So I want to make sure that I'm following those daily. Then I'm going to track my weight on the 1st and the 15th. And even though the weight isn't a huge thing for me like it used to be, it's more about how I feel and look and how clothes fit. I still want to get down out of the super heavyweight division for this stuff over here, because I don't want to get mauled by a 400-pound girl. I would like there to be an upper weight limit, and I need to lose about 40 pounds to get into a weight class that has a limit on it. So that's mainly what the weight's there for. My other goal is to meal prep 75% of meals. My job as a sales rep has me traveling all day, every day. It's so easy just to grab fast food or eat out at restaurants with clients. But I really want to get back to meal prepping more, because I know what I'm putting in my body and I can all feed back into these bin targets better. And then I train better. It all goes together. Lastly, I'm really working on getting 7 hours of sleep per night. My ideal night would be in bed by 9 and up by 4 a.m. I find that 9 p.m. time often creeping closer to 10, and I really want to get those 7 hours. So my mental health, I have a morning routine and evening routine I've developed and follow. You can see those here. Um, and I want to track, how often am I doing them, my morning, my evening, and then days in the month that I followed it total. Um, Over here, I also want to do a 1 second daily. So it's that little video thing you see people post, like usually today. I've tried to do this for 6 years now and I've never managed to make it. So I think it's really good. And I'm putting it under mental health because it's like making you thankful for just something small every single day, and it's a more practice of gratitude as well. I also need to start hiking more, and I've got another tracker for that, hence the page 30 through 31. So I want to make sure I get out into the wilderness, into the woods, away from the cities of California, at least once a month. Clean therapy, clean regularly, keep my apartment tidy. I live in a tiny space, and when it gets messy, I get unhappy. Get into therapy. This was a goal last year, didn't happen, so we're making it a goal this year and writing it in big bold letters. And then blog 1 time per month. And my goal right now is the first Monday of every month. We'll see if that happens, but I can tell a big difference when I'm writing and when I'm not. So they're skipping one goal. This is my hiking page, so it's more of a decorative item than anything. But I just want to like write what I did, where I went, like big pretty topography letters on this more so than anything. I have a long-term goal of hitting every national park and state park in California, and there's like over 200 of them. I think it's close to 300. So that's, a decade-long goal at least. But this is where I want to just kind of make a pretty page about where I've been and where I'm going. So these are two items I have also. We've got books to read. So part of my morning routine is reading for 10 minutes. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's how I got through the entire Stephen King Dark Tower series, was 10 minutes a day for close to a year. These are some books I've wanted to read for a while, so I can go back to those. And this, I find, if I like mark down physical items I want rather than just buy them on a whim, I don't spend as much money, and I'm a lot more mindful of what I want to purchase. And if I'm saving up for something, I know it's on this list. So these are some blogging ideas. So if I come up with something, I can write it down. And then this is where I'm going to track the blogs I write for the year. And then this is a list of things I just want to do in LA. I remember when I moved out here, I was so excited because I live between two of my favorite cities, Venice and Laguna. And they're both like less than an hour away from me, and all the cool stuff to do in LA. And I feel like I haven't past 6 months or so, haven't been taking advantage of everything I could. So there's tons of stuff to do in this city, and I want to start doing more of it. So moving on, this is my monthly January spread. So this is the cover page for that. I've got a little quote there, and I've got January 2020. This is my monthly page. So as you can see, we've got these 3 main goals of those 6 down here. We've got my art goal, we've got my physical health, we've got my mental. And these are just those little goals that are from those first few pages that pertain to this month. So I can track them right here, and at the end of the month, copy them over to the front. I've also got my planning out for the entire month. I've got some appointments. I've got my planning out of when I'm going to film my art video, when I'm going to go on my hike. It's my birthday this month, hey! But just a general overview of January. And then we've got my mood tracker and my habit tracker. So my habit tracker is one of the main ways I'm going to be able to fill out those goals and track how many days I did what, yada, yada, yada. So there's like 30 things down here, and most of these feed back into those goals, right? So we've got everything from my sobriety. I'm going to mark, some days I don't get anything done. Some days are really, really bad, right? We all have bad days, but I'm learning to be thankful for even just the little things. Like if I can just stay sober for another day, which hopefully should be every single day this month, at least I did one thing, right? One day at a time. No credit card spending, working in my sketchbooks, creating art, my jujitsu, home cooking things, being awake at 4 a.m., being in bed by 9:30, 1 second film, Shark Week, all of this stuff. If I worked on it, if I did it, track it here. And I think all this feeds into your mood, right? So I've got colors here to go with my different types of mood. This also lines up with the habit tracker. And then I can write anything that I think really affected my mood, or, if I had a change in mood or what, just any kind of details here to help watch that. Then I've got 2 pages, my January gratitude and memories. So every night before I go to bed, I write down something I was thankful for and something that happened that day. And these are really fun to go back and look at and read because, months later you might have forgotten this or that or whatever happened. But you can always go back and look at this. And then we're on to my weekly spread. So this is something I do every Sunday night to get ready for the following week. So over here is the week in the plans. You've got your dates here. This is the plans for the day. So you can see the circle for the events. And then if I've got any things that need to get done that day, I put them on the to-do list. And then I plan out my meals here in pencil. You can see here most days I'm doing my morning. At 6 o'clock, I'm going to go to my jujitsu open mat. I've got a haircut appointment. I've got my evening and morning schedules on there. But that's where all that key comes into play with the ideas, with the forwarding, with the tasks. That's where all this comes into play. Then over here, again, are those goals I was talking about: mental, art, physical. I got some blog ideas. I've got notes and to do that maybe don't have anything to do with a specific day, but need to get done that week. And then I've got a list of chores, which I'll feed back into, cleaning, keeping the house clean. What are things that need to get done weekly? And I can mark them off as I go. My mental health has my morning routine completely spelled out and my evening routine completely spelled out. So I do little circles as I go down to show that they're completed. My physical health all has to do with that black iron nutrition. And I do ratings and mark if I went to yoga, if I did jujitsu, if I did my check-in on Monday morning. My art has if I posted on Instagram, if I did my daily sketch, if I worked on the medium piece or the large piece, current projects I'm working on, and to do things to keep in mind, like that art video. I know it's going to be due on the 11th, so I'm keeping track that, hey, keep this in the back of your mind. So yeah, that's my whole bullet journal right there. I'll put some links in the tab for other bullet journaling videos or like the basics so you guys can see. But I had some people asking me to see my journal, so I wanted to do a quick video walkthrough and explanation, and hopefully it helps you out. Thanks, guys.